Hello and welcome back, everyone, as we're preparing for Game 2 of the 2021 League of Legends College Championship. Winthrop University find themselves up 1-0 in the series with a dominant performance in that game number 1. There's no other way to put it, Raz. Break it down for me. What do we expect now? Like, how does this change all the expectations of how the series is going?
It was definitely a stump, and it should reshape how you think of Winthrop. I know Winthrop's got a lot of fans right now in the chat. It's there for a reason, and the faith is being paid back dividends. We are in Draft 2. Gwen instantly banned by Maryville. Remember, it's a new pick in the scene. One thing to take note of and how it just destroyed the mid lane matchup is, remember, 40% attack speed boost at level 1 on your once you activate your E, and it resets to your timer. It's just so dominant to deal with early on. So new draft has to be.
New draft, absolutely. And also the fact that just Gwen can be flexed so many ways. So Maryville obviously on the same page as the analyst says, on the same page as us, probably on the same page as everyone in Twitch chat, realizing the strength of the Gwen pick taken off the table. But the rest of the bands here, Winthrop keeping it pretty simple, stable as what they had in game number 1. Gangplank, Senna, and Lee Sin are their focuses. Maryville rounding out the rest of their bands with that Thresh and that Nocturne yet again.
You can go Morgana here if you want first pick as Winthrop, because you have a great Lucian player in Doxa. Your 2-3, you can showcase Saskia and Sir Kenji's picks. It's going to be the Varus. Varus has just been such a dominant pick. We've seen a lot of it. So there it is.
I like this a lot because, especially how last game went. I'm a big momentum kind of guy. If you got momentum in the series, ride that momentum out. Saskia looked very comfortable on this pick. Was able to get that first blood early on, or that first gank rather, on the bottom side, and had an incredible performance throughout that game number 1. So the answer here from Maryville, they want Rumble in the jungle, presumably, so it can't be flexed around, but let's see what they pair into that Varus, because I'm not going to lie, Evan Orell's Kai'Sa was struggling, but they do still have faith, and they lock it in again.
I think you go Nautilus here, almost certainly, especially since you're going to be going up against the Kai'Sa and Rumble. Easy picks to lock down, very squishy. Sure, the stopwatch is an expectation for the Rumble, but I think it's a great idea for Winthrop. Another thing to take note of is the fact that, having a Varus Nautilus bot lane is just another... It worked in game 1. Play through bot lane, and Saskia and Sir Kenji will pay you back. It's going to be an Udyr being locked in as well.
This is the same 3. Well, I guess, no, last time they had the Gwen. The Udyr was picked in the blue 4, but still, this is a very strong combo. This is the jungle plus bot lane combo that was able to gank the Kai'Sa and the Leona, which Maryville are opting back into. So really, the only difference in these drafts we're seeing right now is that Rumble.
Yeah, and I think Nautilus is not only has it just been the pick for Kenji, it's a great takeaway from Rumble, because Rumble wants setup. He wants a champion on his team to be able to set up his ultimate, so it's not just, bear out in an open space in a team fight. And I think Leona is just a good answer. It's a decent one into the Nautilus. It also sets up Kai'Sa ultimate and, as we were saying, Rumble. So far the draft, I think, has gone well for both sides.
Big difference between that Nautilus and the Leona, right, is one's a point-and-click ultimate guaranteed to knock up. The other one is a skill shot, and we saw Shady struggling to hit some of those because Flash's mobility being on the side of the Winthrop Eagles. But now the rest of the bans, they ban out that Lucian. Maryville ban out the Victor, so still focus on the mid laners here in game number 2.
A concern that I have is that I'm expecting Maryville to want to go for a counter-pick top lane, because with Rumble versus Udyr is going to be the stronger 2v2 option. So you're not really, in my mind, going to have a strong 2v2 up against an Udyr and X, right? So maybe it's going to be a Sylas pick. I think Winthrop would do well with Udyr Sylas, knowing that you have Leona ultimate and Rumble ultimate. And it's just a great ganking option. So that's what I'm looking out here for Doxa. Meanwhile, with Maryville's side, Lucian being taken away is one thing. Tristana could be another one here for Spyrax. Actually, it's going to be a Gnar picked up, so that's going to be a mid lane counter pick for Maryville.
All right, going against your recommendations here, Raz, but the Gnar is still at least a fairly safe blind pick top lane, right? That's what you go for. That's the reason behind it. And the Renekton was taken away. I like that from Winthrop Eagles. They actually adapted their band a little bit, giving respect to the flexibility of that Renekton. But now, I mean, we're looking at the junglers. Already they have that Udyr locked in, so those hovers just baiting us a little bit. They still have their solo lanes to lock in. Choice of counter into the Gnar. They're going with the Aatrox.
Yeah, just buying time so you can pick, have the maximum amount of time to pick your mid lane here. But the Aatrox is a safe pick. knowing that you're going to be going up against the Gnar, you're going to get, hurt quite a bit in the early lane, as it's going to be life. But as the game goes on, you're going to be having dive buddies there with Udyr and the added support of an Orianna. So pretty straightforward composition coming in from Winthrop.
I like the Orianna for Doxa. I was holding out hope it would be the Syndra. I really was. But I guess blind picking the Syndra can be very dangerous. So blind picking Orianna instead. Let's see what Maryville wants to put into that one. You already highlighted the fact Rumble doesn't provide that much pressure going for those mid lane ganks. But here we go. Here's something that can set itself
Let's go.
up. Yone locked in for Spyrax.
There we have it. Heard a lot about Spyrax coming into this event, and he's just an assassin, flashy type of player. So you have an AP jungler, bring him that AD assassin in mid lane. You gotta love it.
I love this pick. We've seen players like Drew Dozer popping off on it earlier in the round of 8. It can get advantages on its own and hard carry through side lanes. And we saw in game number 1 that Maryville was willing to put Spyrax in those side lanes as well on the Renekton. So it seems like it fits the player's playstyle, the team's playstyle. Also compositionally can do well into that Orianna as long as you're not poked out too much in the early stages. So this draft really came together for Maryville at the end there, but it will all be on this Yone pick. Can you get ahead?
You have to get ahead. In my mind, it does 2 great things. It forces flash off Orianna, so if you want a team fight in lane, go straight around neutral objectives, punish the Orianna, and if you don't get that, side lane power with the Gnar and the Yone, and you can just try and split them up. I think those are 2 great ideas for Maryville University with the draft that they have coming into game 2.
Here we go, Raz. Game 2 loaded up onto the Rift. Maryville University with a very aggressive adaptation in their drafting here. Trying to make something work because game number 1 was all Winthrop University's sided. Winthrop University up 1-0 in this best of 5 here. Also with a pretty strong looking draft. A lot of big meta picks right now. Let's see who's able to take this one here. Again, battle lines drawn across the map. We're not seeing any level 1 organized invades, despite the fact that we actually are seeing some very strong level 1 champions on the Udyr, Varus, and the Nautilus. But Winthrop University, I think that if you're ahead in the series, you can also just go for the more calculated, slower play.
And here's the thing, Genghis. With how excited I am for Spyrax going on towards Yone, if you ask Yone players who they wouldn't want to go up against, it's probably going to be Nautilus, Varus, Udyr. like lockdown, basically, where that if you go into a fight, they can cut you back, or they can lock you down and just straight burst you. These are things that Spyrax has to play around. That really dissuades him from team fighting. I think we're going to be seeing him play more side lanes and playing a slower game.
But you highlighted the Rumble at the beginning of Champion Select here as a jungler that can't really impact the mid lane that much early on into the game. But now Spyrax, a reminder to everybody that this mid laner subbed in here after round of 8, or during the round of 8 into the semifinals, and now in the grand finals over Wolfie. Now on the Yone, is this a pick, Res, that will enable the Rumble a little bit more and that we actually could see some early mid-game ganks?
Oh, absolutely. As they're seeing an all-in here on Sir Kenji on the bot side. Ignite being placed down. There's gonna be
kills
nothing,
going
though.
over, so Summoner Spell blown from Shady.
So to answer your question there, yeah, I think adding in Spyrax actually works really well in the current meta because you have a multitude of AP options in the jungle. Now you can have, AD, bruisers, assassins, all these picks, AD carries in the mid lane, and Spyrax can play them, as a style. That's just who he is as a player. Meanwhile, Wolfie is, a great chiseled veteran, but he is, an insane mage player, a control mage player. And I think a lot of it comes down to the meta, but also, having a young player in Spyrax come in, I think is a great opportunity.
Piloting the Yone is going to have to show what he's got here against Doxa. A lot of fans of the tournament so far have heard this name a lot, right? Doxa, the TSM amateur mid laner. He's been splitting time playing collegiate and in the amateur scene. And it's really showing in the play, already finding himself with a decent gold lead, or rather minion wave lead here in the mid lane. Farming up very well against Spyrax, who's just trying to shove this in. I wonder if Spyrax to go for any sort of cheater recall. No, so far just playing safe, playing back, but neither junglers are that close to this mid lane. Spyrax positioning on the top half just in case Frost Force shows up.
Yeah, earlier on it was very similar to one where Spyrax just wants to get his wave in. The laning state, as you already said, is in a pretty bad position. Wave is slightly past river, and the minions, it seems like he's not been able to last hit as well. So yeah, Doxa has gotten the heads up. It's expected really early on, but not this wide of a difference here. But yeah, it goes to show how strong Doxa is as a laner.
But it's not all about the mid lane. We saw in game number 1, heavily favored on the bottom side here for Winthrop based on that first gank. Frost Force, though, passing to the top half of the map, won't find anything for this and will be spotted by wards. I like what Odd Orange did there earlier. He did actually spend some time topside to get some wards down, deny some of the vision away from Frost Force. He really only has a gank option, but maybe he actually finds it. Spyrax is very far forward. Doxa and Spyrax trading aggressively. Doxa is trying to bait out his own life so that Frost Force can get in here, but Odd Orange is there as well. They turn it back around, trying to get onto Doxa. Spyrax actually flashes the wall rather than committing for the kill. No blood yet in this game number 2, but wow, both these teams are looking for it.
Yeah, Spyrax played that one safe, and I think it was a good option. He knew that flash was available from Doxa and that the DPS from Frost Force was going to be enough to kill him. So gets out of there, but now has burned the flash from Doxa. I think that's significant later on in the game. When I'm talking about early dragons, so maybe around the 6-minute mark, but dive here on Chippies.
Doxa going topside. They really want Chippies down. He's about to go Mega, though, and he does have flash available. He's not going to hit Mega in time. Auto comes through for Doxa. He actually gets the first blood. Chippies used flash there. I'm not quite sure what the play was, but now Spyrax teleported top to try and save his top laner. Not the play as Hybrids picks up another kill. They could just do this. They could just kill Chippies. Chippies, no! It wasn't safe, Chippies. Winthrop University pick up 3 in the top lane.
Avert your eyes. We don't want to see that. That is probably one of the worst things you could see in a game like this, and it's an engage on the bot lane.
Oh, no. Okay, at least there's a trade. Maryville, they lose the top lane fiasco, but they pick up a bot lane kill. That's some gold in their pocket.
The word here is focus for me, because I understood what Chippies was trying to do at the very beginning. It was just a great miscalculation on his Gnar bar. He was not close yet. He needed about 2 to 3 more auto attacks. So he just dies before he was even able to proc it and get the added HP. Spyrax TP's in a position to try and help him, of course now alone, but when he dies, you just don't TP for the wave. There are still 3 members here, and I think it was just a loss in focus after the previous misplay that now adds to it. Chippies is insanely far behind now.
That is ridiculously far behind for the Gnar. Yeah, I think we saw Chippies try and flash the third knockup from Hybrids, but unfortunately still just picked up on the corner of it. Maybe could have found that outplay if that flash had successfully gone off. But hey, like I said, at least having RL and Shady to say, okay guys, let's chill out top lane. let's slow our roll a little bit. We got to kill bottom half of the map and put Saskio slightly behind, but even as I say that, Saskio still has a great wave position. So this is 2 games in a row now, Raz. Early game going over to Winthrop.
It's Winthrop starting out this series. I mean, early birds here, doing well. Doxa, Hybrids, Frost Forest. We might even call out another name because Odd Orange and Shady are trying to start up the vision around this side of the map.
Shady Hex flashes over, not finding Doxa. They're trying to punish that lack of flash that you highlighted earlier, Raz. Doxa not having that is an opportunity for Maryville to find a play mid lane, but Doxa's doing a great job of playing safe, even though he TP topside without that flash. Has not gone down yet, but here we go. Sir Kenji might have to flash himself. Odd Orange trying to chase him down. Shady as well.
There you go.
They get flash out of Nautilus.
And that's the thing you were mentioning. I think it's the discipline that I'm the most interested in here for Winthrop. Because every time, members like Doxa not having flash, playing very respectfully around the enemy timers. Same thing last game with Saskio and Sir Kenji when they knew that, Frost Forest was playing through mid lane. Play patiently, burn your flash defensively, don't take any risks. These things are happening, and not only is it netting Winthrop advantages early off of their own individual play, they're keeping those advantages.
And they're looking for more. They're trying to abuse Chippies even further. He can't do anything, Raz.
This is bullying. This is what this is. Can't allow it. This is pretty disastrous here, and it's only going to get worse because if you are Frost Forest, the opportunity cost of just continually going top lane and denying Chippies, diving Chippies, especially with how easy it is to dive with an Aatrox, It's high. Just keep doing it.
You can do it a lot, everybody. Anybody watching at home. And Odd Orange might have been up more than he can chew right now. He sees the jungler topside, so wants to take this red buff. He does have some backup from his support, but he's going to go down. Sir Kenji picks up that kill. Shady trying to do what he can, but Evan RL is a little late on the rotation. There we go. They finally lock down Saskia. No summoner spell. Spyrex joins in as well. Sir Kenji should fall. That's going to be 2 kills. A double over to Evan RL.
That was just a very risky play from Saskia and Sir Kenji to try and, yes, defend the red, but also get the kill on Odd Orange. They get it, but Spyrex recognizes, comes in to aid them. Doxa didn't have mana, so he could not actually help. So, great pick from Maryville bot lane, and now they have a lane to play through.
This is what they needed desperately based on how the top lane was going. Because, I mean, Chippy is on the Gnar. You're getting counterpicked. Hybrid's clearly feeling very comfortable in this matchup. So Chippy's on the back foot. They needed something else around the map. And yeah, a Fed Kaisa, that's going to do it. Let's take another look at how this started. Yeah, again, Odd Orange thinks that he has this because it sees jungler top.
So he should be aware. I think they knew that this was going to be a challenge here because he was clearing out a ward. They didn't have vision on the bot lane. He just thought he could survive it by the time Leona gets there. So this, at the end of the day, is just an overreach from Winthrop's bottom lane. They're the weak side. They wanted to not just lose out waves for free and lose out on their red buff. But now they get picked out and lose it all.
Saskio's gone down twice. Evan RL saying, look, I understand that Maryville has only won a championship title with you on the team, but I can carry too, Saskio. Evan RL with 2 kills in this pocket. What more can he do with this? Sir Kenji, oh no, walks too far forward. No summoner spells means that he will go down as well. Evan RL getting his 3rd kill of the game.
This game's online. It's even between those teams. Spyrex getting caught out, though.
There we go. Answer from Winthrop immediately in the mid lane.
All right, loses Flash Burn. He's going to lose this wave. That blows. But at the end, if we just take a step back, because there's a lot happening at the same time, Maryville's getting an advantage straight through bot lane, and they're trying to ride that home. With the Rift Herald being placed mid is going to give it a lot of gold over to Doxa here.
This is the complete opposite of what we saw in Game 1, Raz. Game 1, it was Winthrop playing through the Varus Nautilus with the help of Udyr. But this time around, the script has been flipped, right? It's now Hybrids as the carry, getting all this attention topside. And now Winthrop, oh no, don't do it. You're getting caught again on the bottom half of the map. Evan RL just jumps right in onto Saskia, blows him up immediately, but can they trade onto Evan RL? They cannot! Sir Kenji goes down, double teleport in from Winthrop University. Can't quite lock down the jungler. It will just be a trade for Shady, but aggression from Hybrids. He wants to commit to this. He's flashing forward, a double kill to Doxa.
Great eyes from Hybrid. Said, you guys will get that kill. I don't need to, work with you on that one. I'm diving straight towards the Odd Orange. The double TP works out. Cheapies will get something towards the top side, but you have to be happy if you're Winthrop being able to nail those kills.
Every time Maryville tried to make a play, Winthrop answers somewhere else, or even to that direct play here.
Yeah, remember, they're doing this because Dragon is coming up. They're trying to maintain that vision. It's just a full commitment from Winthrop to say, hey, we're using both our TPs here. Mid lane's not going to be able to help out. And so Doxa flashes through to secure the kill. 2 kills and a dragon for Winthrop University.
Fantastic early game here for Winthrop. Also gets flash out of Chippies. Hybrids! Where was this Hybrids in game number 1? I guess he was on Scion duty in game number 1. Now he's unleashed on the Aatrox pick, showing, hey, everybody on the analyst desk, the casters, they all kind of forgot that this is a triple carry squad here from Winthrop University. Doxa and Saskio have been the highlight players, but Hybrid's putting on a performance right now. As meanwhile, mid lane, there is a dive here onto Doxa. That's an easy shutdown over to Spyrax. Maryville finds some more gold in their pocket.
I love the fact that they're still finding timers there. Knew that the flash timer was down from Doxa, is still able to get the kill. So that's something that Doxa has to recognize. With if you're flashing aggressively bot lane to net that kill, for the rest of the timer, you either need some hand-holding or just play it safe. But to your point about Hybrids, just taking a look at the mini-maps and no actions happening. Talking to Hermit, one of the coaches for Winthrop, he sings praises about Hybrids. He's talking about he is more than just that weak side player. He's smart, a quick learner, he's flexible and has great macro sense. So he gives him a lot of praise, where a lot of the people out there see him as weak side a lot. That's based off choice, and I think that says a lot towards that caliber of player.
I love that from a top laner that's also just able to weather that, right? You know, if you have the potential to carry, a lot of top laners will prefer to carry. It takes a special kind of personality to show up and say, no, I'm willing to play weak side for, you know, 80% of our top 32 and above games. But when my team needs me, of course, I will show up and carry as well. Now Chippies and Hybrid's actually aggressively trading top lane. Hybrid's not taking the better of that one. Chippies with a really good chunk out.
He's kind of stuck here. You know, low HP. Chippies has TP advantage because Hybrid's used his own. So he's going to either need some help or just kind of lose a minion wave for a base here. In fact, it looks like Dox is going to lean towards that side of the map after this cleared out minion wave to help him out. So there's no real, you know, rush here for Hybrids. But yeah, this game is looking, it's a great back and forth. The gold lead is in Maryville's favor, and it's all about that bot lane. It seems like they've abandoned that lane. Evan RL and Shady are just too strong. They pick up that turret.
Really well done from Evan RL and Shady, constantly putting the pressure in. And like you said, Winthrop University, they give that up. They early rotate Saskio to the top lane. They also have Sir Kenji around here. Most likely going to focus this Rift Herald. And let's do a quick item count, because if there is a fight at the Rift Herald, we got to account for who's favorited to win that one. You mentioned the gold favoring Maryville right now, but we are seeing a couple more mythics picked up on their side as well.
Yeah, so really the only difference here is that Maryville's bot lane, you know, having the Kraken Slayer on the Kaisa, she's going to be a highlight. Find the pick.
Okay, right as I say that, Shady gets picked out to start the fight. He is tanky, though. He's taking up a lot of damage. Pyrex just jumps right in, deletes Doxa. Now they turn their attention on the rest of the carries. Hybrid doing what he can. He takes out one, he takes out two. Almost enough to turn the fight, but Maryville are too strong. They already took down 3 key members of Winthrop, the 3 most fed members, and they still have Odd Orange and Spyrax together. They will go for this Rift Herald.
They had everything on the table. Maryville knew that the play was going to be on Rift Herald. They moved in as a team. While Varus was in the top lane, your AD carry is not there, and so while you're close to getting that kill on the towards Shady, it's just a straight sweep there from Maryville. Yeah, I mean, the idea, I understood it from Winthrop. They just didn't have the resources available.
And a great heads-up play there from Maryville to realize, hey, Dox, there's really no peel for him right now. If I land this Leona ult and then follow up with the Yone ultimate, Dox is going down. He's still squishy. He's still just an Orianna, and they found that play, taking him out from 100 to 0. He couldn't even move. That was absolutely massive for Maryville winning that fight. They net themselves that advantage of the Rift Herald. And while the early game, the top half of the map was looking dire, Maryville have done a fantastic job of keeping their heads calm, keeping their heads in the game. Eyes on the prize, Raz. This is college grand finals, and they do not want to give this one up easily. They do still have a gold lead and that Rift Herald to drop wherever they please.
Yeah, remaining focused here and looking for a dive on Saskio.
They're going right onto Saskio. He used the flash, but still goes down. Evan RL picking up another kill.
Sir Kenji could be next, so he has to watch out. Placing a Rift Herald here, and this is a lot of pressure for Maryville.
Maryville are really pressing this lead. They're going to get 2 turrets mid off of that catch, and now Dragon just spawned, so they can just rotate over towards this next objective. Presumably pick this one up easily. All Winthrop have is a trade of a shoving top lane.
Yeah, so they have to give up this dragon. And this game is turned pretty clearly. You know, Chippies, of course, early on started off in a massive deficit, but he's recognized that their lead is firmly in Evan RL and now in Spyrax. So you have now 2 major threats coming in from Maryville's side, and it's making it difficult for Winthrop to match up against.
And also, you're still an R. At the end of the day, you can still hit Mega and make a crazy play. Doesn't matter how far behind you are. And meanwhile, it's done a fantastic job just recovering that CS against Hybrids in that top lane. So while you look at the scoreline thinking, yeah, Hybrids theoretically should be ahead, you look at the items built and realize he's really not that much in the lead currently. So,
speaking of items, focus on where Saskio doesn't have his mythic. Look on the opposing side. Evan RL has 2 items over him. Has the Phantom Dancer now completed. 8k gold to the 5k there from Saskio. So incredibly huge to see that 3k gold difference.
And you feel that. You don't just see that. You feel that gold difference in these fights. Evan RL is outputting massive amounts of damage. And it doesn't matter how far ahead Hybrids is, which we see is only 600 gold right now. He can't tank up that much. Frost Forest as well with the nerfed tank items. The Udyr is not as tanky as he was in patches past. And Maryville University doing a fantastic job playing with this lead right now. If you're Winthrop University, Raz, you're kind of on the back foot right now. You're up 1-0 in the series, but this game 2 is slipping away from you. So what do they need to be focusing on? How do they ensure that they can somehow come back in this game?
I always say creativity in these moments because you know that Dragon and Barons are going to be the objectives that are magnets that pulls people towards you. So finding a good flank ward for hybrids will be the key here. Because if you start up, you're never going to get the first, touch on an objective. That's not going to happen. But if you have great flank wards there from Aatrox, that's going to make the difference.
They don't have any yet for this play. I see members of Maryville University grouping around to try and potentially dive Saskio, but there are other members from Winthrop to back up their AD carry. And also as Mythic item completed, Gale Force. I like this pick for Saskio. Not always the most popular that you see on the Varus, but we saw what it did right there. Spyrex tried to go aggressive. Saskio just jumps to safety. So doing a good job of absorbing those blows, but now they're just kind of grouping up mid. There was another wave to catch topside that will just be wasted.
So the Gale Force is always an interesting topic because it's a nice defensive tool. It's a nice offensive tool. Like last game, he used it defensively to get out of Shady's ultimates. You pair that up with Varus's flash as well. You don't necessarily want to use that, or if you don't have that, want to concede minion wave. So if you have Gale Force, you can do that. And when they nerfed Gale Force, they didn't nerf the DPS initially. They just nerfed the cooldown on it because it was just that low. So that means if you are in an advantageous position, you can use it as an execute. But this game for sure can get away from those CC.
Shady trying to make some plays onto Frost Forest, furthering the plays as well, but here we go. Sir Kenji actually turns it back in onto Shady. There's Chippies with a huge play, getting onto Saskio. AD carry and support are both out. Now the teleport coming in a little late from Hybrids. He just flashes immediately. Says, all right, I don't want this fight anymore. 3v5, Winthrop on the back foot, and Baron's on the table for Maryville.
Yeah, Chippy's the playmaker there. Didn't have Gale Force active and didn't have his flash. Saskio just had to take it, and now you have 2 members down. Maryville University have a best opportunity here to get a good fight here.
Winthrop trying to make sure that they're not on Baron by baiting them out here, but they might be a little far forward. Doxa does take some big chunk right there. A huge 4-man shockwave into 4-man knockup from Hybrids. The combo's enough for Winthrop. What was that? A double kill to Doxa. Give one to Frost Force. Is this going to be a wipe? No way, Spyrex. No way, Maryville. You did not group against Oriana. Aatrox, Winthrop, take the fight.
They were so focused on the champs that Doxa was able to pull him in. Humongous play, and now that's going to be Winthrop's Baron. They are back in the game.
What a swing in momentum. That was a 3v5, Raz. That was a 3v5 to end all 3v5s. Watch this setup. Beautifully done by Doxa.
That was huge. They were looking for the pick on towards Frost Force, and then you combo it up with Aatrox. That is a play that should be on Reddit. Clip that right now. That was beautiful, and that's why people say Doxa difference, but now you gotta follow it up with Hybrids, because that was the best Big Mag.
Absolute dominance coming out from the top and mid lane here from Winthrop. Doxa setting them up, Hybrids knocking them down, and now they find themselves with the gold advantage and that Baron buff. Maryville University are scratching their heads thinking, how did we let something like that happen? They were in such a commanding position right there.
That was insane. I've been watching a lot of Kuroko no Basket, by the way. It's a basketball anime. That right there was a pretty damn good alley-oop. that was pretty sick. Now that's a dragon being picked up for Maryville University, so that's going to be their third. But that's Baron for Winthrop. They're the ones that have a commanding position through mid lane.
They're also taking top lane. Look at this Frost Force. The Udyr is actually the one shoving in the top side of the map. They don't quite get that turret. But yeah, control of the map for the first time, it feels, for Winthrop right now. Spyre's going very aggressive. Okay, yeah, you got to take that back.
Yeah.
Scary to go onto an Udyr like that, buddy. But overall, Maryville not out of the game yet. I do want to give them props. They still are stacking up these dragons. They're one away from Dragon's Soul, but it's not going to feel good having the gold lead swing back in the favor of Winthrop now, who have this vision control around the river, but there's really nothing to fight over. I don't know why Maryville are posturing so aggressively for this.
Key thing to note here, as minion waves are being lost here from Maryville, both top lane stacking up, so that's good for Winthrop. Stopwatches. Got a stopwatch there for Doxa. Doesn't have flash, but that's going to be key if they do find a pick on towards the Orianna. But there is also a stopwatch for the Rumbles. So those are two things that you have to be aware of if a fight were to happen. That Doxa can be a good piece of bait. Same thing happens for autoing. So if you miss characterize the fight, not keeping track of that, that could be a game ender.
And also the gold still in the pocket of Evan RL, right? This Kai'Sa is still massive right now. Really can carry a fight if it's the right situation, the right circumstances, the right setup from the team. And they're looking for that setup. We see Shady over the wall. Maryville University are willing to pull the trigger. They have this ward that hasn't been spotted, so they know that Saskio is right there. But there's really no way for them to actually get on top of him. So, yeah, the Baron Siege coming in clutch for Winthrop University. I believe they got, what, 3-4 turrets off of that objective, ballooning that gold lead up to 4K.
They didn't want to overextend and turn that into an inhibitor turret just because TP's there from Chippies. They don't know if there is a rogue ward catching up behind them for a flank. They don't want to lose all of what they just built up in a second. But now you have a pretty sizable advantage. 4K gold lead for Winthrop all off that play and the Baron that they had. So you're in a really good position if you're this team. And that brings Saskio back into the game. An ability to farm and kind of gain items here. Has the Gale Force and is now searching for that Phantom Dancer.
And the best part about Varus, right? I mean, he can carry if he gets ahead, but even when behind, you still just press ultimate, right? Now you still have chain CC options. If you catch Spyrax, if he jumps too far forward, a lot of CC that can lock him down. So I think if you're Winthrop, you're looking at your mid, your top lane, your jungle saying, yeah, we are just fine in the carry department.
Yeah.
We are comfortable and ready to fight.
And the good news, too, is that he doesn't have to... at least Saskio is making it so the rest of his team doesn't have to go into Executioners.
True.
Yeah, going to Grievous Wound items, because not only does the Hail of Arrows going to be able to help you out there, but he also has got an Executioners himself. So Doxa can very happily and readily go towards the Rabbit on his Death Cap purchase and just be just a ball of damage that Winthrop has to deal with, or Maryville has to deal with.
Speaking of Maryville, I mean, they had a control of that early game pretty tightly, but now it's been wrestled away from them, Raz. I mean, what do they do from this point on? They're down 1-0 in the series. Pressure is mounting here in this game, too. What's their play here? How do they make sure that this game does not further slip away from them?
I think Dragon is going to be the focus. If you get the Dragon vision, trying to maintain that is important. If Winthrop has first touch on an objective, like if they're there first, have the vision laid out, you don't know where Hybrids is. Like, these are the type of things, and you're also walking into Doxa as Orianna Ball. Like, you saw how difficult that is. So getting vision on an objective first and then forcing them to walk into you is what needs to happen. If that isn't the case, if they lose out in vision here, it seems like Winthrop is going to have first push through mid. Then you just have to straight through push through mid lane and try and force them out. So this is what you're probably going to be seeing for the next minute.
Honestly, though, Winthrop are positioned on the top half of the map. They might be willing to sacrifice that bottom vision control for Baron vision control. These objectives will be spawning at essentially the exact same time. And it's just a Cloud Ocean Soul, not necessarily the craziest thing to deal with if Maryville do pick that one up. So let's see what Winthrop actually want to do with this. They are controlling this mid-wave push, prioritizing this lane. Shady's going for a really long flank here.
Yeah, they're just pushing straight through mid, so trying to force Winthrop to play up through Baron. Here's the thing. If one team is forcing Baron and the other team's forcing Dragon, you can just have one member on Drake. Should be Trippy's, honestly. And then just TP for the fight up on Baron. So this seems to be the play here. It's going to be a risky gambit. Let's see if Winthrop wins it out.
I like this. It's actually Evan RL that's soloing the Dragon. He will take it very fast and then can get to this Baron. Winthrop University are set up on the Baron, so it will be a trade of objectives. Dragon Soul already over. Now Winthrop realize, okay, we're a little slow on the play. Maybe let's just go out to Shady right now, but Spyrax is still doing damage. Hybrids on the top half, just bodying away Chippies. They do not want this Gnar to go mega and get onto the carries, but there's the carry as Shady's onto Saskio. Evan RL doing what he can onto the backline and gets onto Doxa. Can they take down Evan RL? Winthrop University looking for it. Frostborn's chasing down the AD carry, but there's other threats to deal with. Yone and Rumble shredding through the front line, but Saskio still relatively untouched right here. The fight is swaying over to Winthrop. They are winning this one out. They only lost Doxa, trading for Evan RL, Odd Orange, and Shady. Winthrop should get this Baron.
Yeah, Winthrop had a great position in the fight. Had the vision lined out, so Saskia wasn't the target, and Hybrids was able to just pull through damage now. Seems like Maryville doesn't want to go down. Yeah, they don't want to go down without a fight.
Free. Spyrax is very healthy, has a flash. Shippies jumps over the wall. Baron is picked up here by Winthrop, but Maryville might chase this one down. They don't. They saw low health bars on Sir Kenji, low mana on Saskia, but they don't commit.
These are desperate times here if you're a Maryville fan, because this was the fight that they were forcing. But take a look at the positioning here. Varus was in a decent spot. Hybrids was up on the northern side of the map, so he can just, you know, dive straight in towards Shady and also towards the Kai'Sa, who's in no man's land. So I usually enjoy teams that start on Dragon and then move up towards the Baron. But Winthrop had a stronger team fight, and they just went for it.
And also Saskia did such a fantastic job kiting out there. There was one small moment where Spyrax was right next to Saskia, but he tunnel visioned onto Hybrids. He used ult onto the Aatrox instead of just going for Saskia, who might have just gotten blown up by that one alone. So maybe some in the fight micro mistakes coming in here. The decision making, the pressure from being in the grand finals. It is mounting. Maryville find themselves now down a second Baron of the game. They got that Dragon Soul. What can they do with it?
They have synchronizing waves mid and bot lane, so they're just giving this one up. 3 inhibitor turret here for Winthrop, and it's going to be an inhibitor as well. I wonder where Maryville is going to draw the line in the sand.
I think that it's not on these inhibitors. That's what we're learning right now. But as I say that, they do throw down the red carpet. Only chunks down Doxa a little bit, but there we go. Spyrax Shippies with the flank. The carries are down. Saskia and Doxa are out of the fight already. Shippies doing what he can now. Sir Kenji and Hybrids, they're still alive. They can't kill Hybrids. The Aatrox is just too big. Look at Hybrids popping off in this fight with the backup of Frost Forest. A double kill, a triple kill to Hybrids. Give this man more carry champions. Game 2's gonna go over to Winthrop. They got a wave with Baron. They're taking down the Nexus turrets. Winthrop University are gonna go up 2-0 against Maryville.
League officials, why don't we rename him the King Hybrids, man? 2 games in a row where Hybrids comes in clutch for a team, and now they are on match point versus Maryville University.
What a game number 2, Raz! It looked like Maryville came out swinging. They had a gold lead early on. They were controlling through the bottom side. Shippies was struggling top lane, but they're like, it's just Hybrids. He plays Scion. He plays weak side. We don't have to sweat. And then Hybrid shows up and goes 10 and 1 on Aatrox. Are you kidding me?
I don't know what to say.
I don't even know what to say after that one, man.
They instant killed their backline. Literally, Doxa and Saskia were not a part of it. And it was just the Aatrox that just went slap, slap. It's just, they couldn't handle him. I think this showcases what is a great, well-rounded team, great prep. Winthrop are here to win.
Winthrop are no joke right now, Raz. Analyst Desk was saying 3-1, maybe 3-2, but Maryville should still take this one. Across the board, they were looking very strong, but I mean, the Doxa matchup into Spyrax looking great. Now we're seeing the Hybrids matchup into Shippies looking fantastic. Even when they lose the bottom side, Saskia and Sir Kenji were having a really rough lane down there. Evan RL got absolutely fed on the Kai'Sa, but it felt like no matter what Maryville did, they just couldn't cinch it. And I will still say that combo, that Orianna 4-man shockwave into the 4-man knockup, that was the thing that really turned the game on its head. So, I mean, props to Winthrop for finding that kind of play.
When they are behind, he will give you games. Like, that's the thing. Both teams, I was excited to watch this finals because I knew both teams, if they're behind, they'll find plays, they'll claw back. That was a situation where they clawed back and then some. Huge plays from Doxa to remember. And Hybrids later on. Remember, that play also had Hybrids in the alley-oop. So there's a lot happening here in this series. Maryville has to find an answer.
Maryville, the defending collegiate champions, are down 0-2 against Winthrop University, the Eagles from the Southern Conference. We're going to send it over to a short break before the State Farm Analyst Desk brings us back and breaks down what happened in that game number 2. Things are heating up in here, everybody. You do not want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the 2021 College League of Legends Championship. Guess what? Winthrop have managed to string together 2 victories. I know they have a lot of supporters in the chat right now that are more than happy to celebrate because, that game was a pretty intense one. I think it's fair to say fun, depending on what perspective you are looking at, because Alorm, as much as we want to highlight the grandest of top plays from these players, we got to pay attention to how things kicked off. A little bit of a ruckus in the top lane.
Yeah, and as you said, maybe a little bit too much fun being had up here in the top lane. This was a dive that went very well for Winthrop and disastrous for Maryville, as we saw Chippies did a questionable flash straight into the Aatrox Q, and when there's 3 people here, Spyrax with the late TP just kind of gets stunned and done. And then right after all this, here comes the TP from Chippies again. My man, there are 3 people there. You can't live this. So, and especially with no flash, he gets his jump hopped back by the Aatrox W, and it was so bad. But on the bright side, on the opposite end of the map, Evan RL and Shady kind of made up for the mistakes that their top side of the map did, and they got a clean 2v2 kill while Sir Kenji was basing, and they got it onto Saskio with the summoners used from Leona. I believe it was the summoners. Let's see. The flash comes in, and it's a kill for Evan RL. And because of this, this was a pretty huge tempo loss that they were able to shove the lane, and they were able to get a lot of CS advantage. And from that, Evan RL did get pretty fed, and it was the light at the end of the tunnel for Maryville, but it wasn't enough, and Winthrop came up ahead.
Right, so to expand a little bit more on Evan RL, we did highlight him as a more supportive player. That's not to say that he could not play any of the bigger carry champions. So I just wanted to make sure that we weren't completely disingenuous to him. Obviously, he can have the standout carry performances, and maybe that'll be what Maryville chooses to go forward with in the next game.
Yeah, very effective here on the Kaisa, and that flexibility in a bot laner, especially considering how sometimes you do want that strength to come from other lanes, can prove very effective for this squad. And a lot of great team play, I would say, to Lorem coming from the side of Winthrop here, but on the side of Maryville, maybe needing to find some more ways to capitalize upon this strength that's brought by some of their laners.
It was really nice to see that they had those big mistakes topside, and they were able to bring it back on the bot side, because when you make those really bad and really big oopsies that you wouldn't make regularly in a normal game, the mental that you have is like, my God, how could we do that? But it was really good to see that Shady and Evan RL, all right, we got this, guys, and they were able to bring it back some on the bot side.
You do want to be able to focus on those moments if you are on the side of Maryville, whether playing directly or as a fan, because it is a best of 5. They'll have their opportunity to scrap back through. If we're looking back at Winthrop, the team that was able to pull off the W here, we do want to pay some attention to our official State Farm assist of the day. We saw some great work coming from our solo laners to bring that action down to the bot lane.
So during this play, we see a fight going on around the strong Evan RL, but Winthrop is able to double TP like a clown car with both their solo laners committing double summoners. It's really important to highlight what a play like this actually details in terms of like team coordination, because one of 2 things either happened. Either someone like Sir Kenji was saying, okay guys, double TP, go, 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 or it was premeditated in that it was, hey guys, there might be a fight down here. If there's a fight, we're going to double TP. Either way, it's still very impressive because it shows either very good communication and like ability to coordinate and plan, or it shows very trust in what their teammates are saying.
A play that MU was looking for, but Winthrop really pulling the trigger in that moment to capitalize and turn the fate a bit for that kill. But TJ, one thing to note, with all of the resources that they did pull into that specific play, there was a bit of punishment soon to follow.
Yeah, 100%. And that's really important to remember that later on in the game, Winthrop is feeling good. They're saying, hey, we're ahead, but they commit to a fight in top jungle against a lot of AoE ultimates, the stuff like the Leona, the Rumble, the Yone, even a Gnar, where it's just like, hey, we can't leave our double immobile flashless carries, and Doxa does end up getting punished for that. So I'd like to see Winthrop in the future games maybe take a little bit of a chill pill if they're playing more immobile carries without flashes, because that provided Maryville an opportunity to come back into the game when Winthrop was poised to win.
The chill pills can become very useful, I think, on both sides, because you mentioned that maybe Winthrop needs to slow things down a little bit in cases. But Alarm, I want to pay attention to a play where MU were able to come on top, but maybe they needed a chill pill of their own immediately after.
Right, so MU got this really great fight off in the mid lane, and they were heading toward the Baron, but then they decided to make this bait play and ran straight into Dox's Orianna, where he got the 4-man Shockwave straight into the Aatrox 4-man Q. This, all it had to take was a little bit of better decision-making. MU had 5 men, and it almost seemed like Winthrop were willing to give up that Baron for the mid-wave shove. They do it very fast, right? With Kaisa and Yone, and they've got Rumble. They have the characters to take that Baron very quickly, and on top of that, Doxa has no flash. So if they had just gone to the Baron and taken it, they probably wouldn't have gotten themselves into a really bad situation where they have this 5-man ball, and they run toward the Orianna into a 4-man Shockwave into an ace, they get the Baron, and from there the game's over. So in the future, I'd like to see Maryville with a little bit more decisive shot calling, and if they're going to make a risky bait play like that, they need to be aware of their positioning and that they don't group up for AoE ultimates.
Grouping up against Orianna does not always work in your favor. And we are actually, when it comes to this series, going to get our first flip over as Maryville have selected blue side. So they will be moving over to the blue side here. And I do want to touch a bit more on what we want to see from Maryville TJ, because they have been a team commended for their fundamentals, their ability to keep the control in those moments. So do you feel that what we just saw, kind of going a little too hyphy after play, is uncharacteristic of them? Or is it something that they're used to kind of trying to work out when it comes to full series?
I think that based on their performances in PGC, I think that they did make a lot of mistakes and they do continue to make them, but they do also have pretty good fundamentals. So it'll be interesting to see for this next game, do they switch things up? Do they go back to more comfort picks? Do they maybe pick a 5-5 standard comp? What are they going to do? They have selected the blue side, like you said, which I think is invaluable. Winthrop has now played 7 games on blue side. That is a lot of games where they're now getting the drafts that they want, and I'm curious to see if a Nautilus ban will come out or maybe a Nautilus pick to get Kenji off that. It'll be pretty exciting just to see what exactly does Maryville do, because if you're their coach, you're probably thinking like, okay, guys, our backs are against the wall. This was not an expected scenario, and we just kind of have to fix the mental, go forward, and play our game, not their game.
And we did start the day with game 1 where Alorum was making note of Winthrop's draft, how they were able to come through with so many strong picks coming from that blue side. So I'm sure Maryville are looking to flip the script on them a bit in that regard. I do have a bit of an update for everyone that is watching, though. I did get word from our friends over at Valorant Masters in Reykjavik. And spoiler alert, if you are still looking to watch these games, but congratulations to Sentinels for winning Valorant Masters Reykjavik. They 3-0'd their way to the finish line. We are here all in North America on this desk, and I think it's fair to say, Alorum, that this is a prideful moment for NA.
We might not be the best in the world for League of Legends, but when I'm playing Valorant with my friends in my silver games, I'm playing in the best region in the world.
Yeah. TJ, you're the master of all the games over there, playing multiple things at once, whether it's TFT, League. I'm sure you've been playing Valorant as well. Have you been able to catch any of the pro action, or how are you feeling about how that scene's kind of developing and coming through?
As someone in collegiate, I'm always looking around at what's going on in games. So I'm very excited for Valorant. I know that a lot of students are very interested in it. So I'd expect a lot of varsity programs to start taking up Valorant. I think that Riot's whole shtick on the collegiate scene in terms of like developing and pushing it forward and really giving players a path to pro and really good branding and marketing opportunities, I think is super important. So I've been watching a little bit in auxiliary. I'm with Alorum here. I'm basically a silver player, not very good, but that's okay as long as we're supporting the players.
Oh, yes. I mean, we love to see that support, and I do want to give some extra words of support to all of the team that have been working on Masters, all of the teams that have competed. They have been putting on a wonderful show. Looking forward to catching those VODs later. But we have other things to celebrate here on the broadcast too, especially the Winthrop fans out there, because Winthrop has pushed us officially 2 match points in this best of 5 series for the championship series of college. So everybody, we're going to see if they can dethrone our current reigning champions on the other side of this break. See ya.